following them come the waves of River Thames. Sea-like here, beating against the stones as high or as low as the Royal Geographical Tidal Institute's calendar permits them to. For an ignorant observer such as myself, they are merely bright white a long way out, a little dirty looking, but choppy in any case. The last third of my visual field, though, is as blue can be, magnificently changeable, from pale to grey to strapping within this colour. On the last page of Johnson's journal, I had found the enigma that kept haunting this island, the very island that he had been living on. Ordinarily, this piece of land being detached from the mainland consisted of marshes and was frequently flooded in the past. What remained after the water has retreated were the resources that the islanders harvested for construction.
That Elmley, you know Elmley? I nearly always cry, because did you hear about the girl that got stuck in the mud? No? Ooh, I've got a friend of mine, he'd be a good man to talk to. His family lived in Elmley all their life, and he lost his, it would have been his granny's sister. When you're in Elmley, she's gone out, and they're doing catching fish or crabs out in the where it's mud. She got stuck in the mud. Her sister run back to tell the parents she's stuck in the mud. By the time they get back out there again, the water's come in and they know she's in there, she's dead, obviously. Water comes in and they had to sit and wait until the tide went out. She's in the mud. So that's there. And they buried her under a tree out there. Just another little story out there.
The old shipbuilding dockyards and the mining industry are long decayed, and their remnant dead structures are the only evidence that suggests the importance they once held to the industrial achievement of the island. For the scarcity of construction material existent and imported onto the island, structures taken down in one place become structures rising up in another. The island has its own enclosed ecosystem, allowing it to ceaselessly regenerate.
Show you the front of it first. Tell you the date of it then. $1783, is it? So you can imagine this used to come out onto the street here. Do you know what I mean? So where that is, it used to come out to the street. And on the front here, I've got photographs, or I've seen photographs, and I've got people come down here and say this was my great-great-great-grandma getting married at this church. So it seems funny that couples have been standing here, you know, and they're arm in arm, and I've seen the pictures. And it just seems like all things crazy now. I'll show you inside. So, I told you about this ship. Just those marks there, they're just, I know nothing about boats, but apparently that come from a certain part of the boat, and you can tell that from all of them, okay? And then see these? To hold the roof up, they're ship's masts. So when you think people have climbed up them, you know, they've been part of like, just nice, isn't it? If I was the captain, I'd put them two against it and whipped them. Made them work better. Not really. But can you see all the loggings up there? All those little squares where the decks of the boats would have gone into. You think old sailors 200 years ago would have been walking on them.
At the place where Johnson wished for himself to be buried, I found the marks that were once left by war, the yard full of broken relics and stones engraved with memories. Navigating through the mist of lost chronicles requires the direction of people from the past. Leaving the rough cart track, I entered the little churchyard. The air was chill and damp, yet flowers were on the altar and sills such as only children would pick. In the aisle, an old lady knelt, scrubbing red tiles. I remember her face etched with age and memories of many smiles. When I left the church, I was to go to war. In 1943, when victorious armies swept through North Africa, I found myself in the great mosque at Caroline. Beneath enormous chandeliers with 1,000 winking oil lamps, I stood on red tiles, and my mind's picture lingered on the little old lady at Elmley. In 1953, I returned to the church once more. The winds were truly cold, and along the banks of the Swale was wreckage brought by the February's floods. Inland up the winding road to Elmley, a lamb met us at the porch door. Even before the churchyard was gained, the bare rafters warned of the changes. Inside, all was covered down with bedding for cattle, the altar gone, the tiny font lying turtle outside, and the red tiles. I stirred the straw and dung with my foot. Here and there an odd tile remained. In the theatre that is now used as a museum, where Johnson spent most of his time, I found maps and other materials he had kept.
The slides there, look. That they used to paint on the glass. That's the bomb ship. That's a model of it there. Because people kept asking what it looked like originally. And that letter in the red round the outside, that's from the American government saying it doesn't exist because they paid to have it raised and scrapped. Oh, there's that picture. I know I said to you the church that they were restoring at the end. This is it here, inside of it. That's what it used to be like inside. Because Claire, the girl that came past just a minute downstairs, her grandfather was the vicar of that. What was it? They spent 12 million on it, I think, restoring it. But these are all pictures of the docks, as it used to be. And that's the timeline of Sheppey. This is what they used to live on. called the hulks. They actually used to just cut the tops off and float them around there when they wasn't any good for anything else. It's like that, so you didn't have anything on the top. They used to have gardens and all that, and then they converted them front as possible. And then once they sort of got them in position, they would put all the earth behind them and fill them in out to them. And that was part of the sea wall then. These are all the families that used to live on the ones inside the dockyard. It was one of those where Megwitch from Great Expectations, he escaped from one here in Bluetown out onto the marshes. Because Dickens used to live here, and that's where he got the story from. And when his father was the paymaster in the docks, and when he was living here, there was a family here called Fagin, so that's where he got that name from. That was another name that he used. And the old curiosity shop is based on Minster. As you go up the hill into Minster, there's a big old white cottage. It looks it looks really run down. And that's Prospect House.
Earth molded into existence, architect of its own demise, only to reassemble. Mirage of continuity, cyclical metamorphosis, perpetual self-obliteration. Self-destruction as the paradoxical beauty of an unending cycle. Birth and death intertwine, fragments echo structures. Mirage persists, illusion of seamless flow, perpetual self-obliteration, a poignant refrain, a dance of elements, time and space. Creation finds rebirth, eternal rhythm. Erasing and marking, an archive of stories untold and yet to be told, a collective memory. The paradox blooms, past, present and future converge, rise and fall of the tide, leaving imprints. The secrets of ancient stones, eternal oscillation persists. Unknown narratives, steady reappearance of what has always been. Written on each age, pendulum swings, the layers persist. An eternal unease through the layers of existence, the symptom of history. Earth molded into existence, architect of its own demise, only to reassemble. Mirage of continuity, cyclical metamorphosis, perpetual self-obliteration. Self-destruction as the paradoxical beauty of an unending cycle. Birth and death intertwine, fragments echo structures. Mirage persists, illusion of seamless flow, perpetual self-obliteration, a poignant refrain, a dance of elements, time and space. Creation finds rebirth, eternal rhythm. Erasing and marking, an archive of stories untold and yet to be told, a collective memory. The paradox blooms, past, present and future converge, rise and fall of the tide, leaving imprints. The secrets of ancient stones, eternal oscillation persists. Unknown narratives, steady reappearance of what has always been. Written on each age, pendulum swings, the layers persist. An eternal unease through the layers of existence, the symptom of history. Birth and death intertwine, fragments echo structures. Earth molded into existence, architect of its own demise, only to reassemble. Mirage of continuity, cyclical metamorphosis, perpetual self-obliteration. Self-destruction as the paradoxical beauty of an unending cycle. The paradox blooms, past, present, and future converge, rise and fall of the tide, leaving imprints. The secrets of ancient stones, eternal oscillation persists. Unknown narratives, steady reappearance of what has always been. Written on each age, pendulum swings, the layers persist. An eternal unease through the layers of existence, the symptom of history. Returning to Johnson's home, I hung back atop of a hill as the sun dipped down below the horizon, casting shadows across the barren landscape, constantly shifting, yet unchangeable.